Local election headquarters. Here's Fred Childers with This Week in Louisiana Politics.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Fred Childers. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. We have a lot to go over, so let's get started. Caddo Parish Sheriff-elect Henry Whitehorn is standing firm in his support of the single vote that secured wins for him in the election and subsequent runoff race, despite the appellate court deciding to uphold the decision to invalidate that election. Whitehorn said the two individuals who voted twice were both registered Republicans. Whitehorn concluded his message by saying he still believes in the people of Caddo Parish and vows to take his fight for that one vote to the Supreme Court. The way that Louisiana does political campaigns has been shifting over the years, according to some pollsters. Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht brings us details on how things are getting started earlier.
In Louisiana, the trend of voting early is catching on. In the general election, 41% of votes were cast early and 34% in the primary. This means that heavy campaigning by politicians will need to be done earlier.
To me, the beginning really is when those mail ballots hit the table.
For people who are over 65, more are voting by mail. According to pollster John Cuvion of JMC Analytics, this means up to a month before Election Day, messaging from campaigns needs to be hitting their targets.
If you're one of those who still believes in the old, in my opinion, outdated tradition of basically backloading all your election expenses to the night before election or the week before election, you're pretty much missing the boat.
Cuvion said the 2023 election cycle had one of the lowest black voter turnout over the course of 30 years. Without the black support and not gaining numbers in more rural parishes, Cuvion says that Democratic candidates would have difficulty winning.
We have had a top to bottom realignment that favors Republicans because we are a largely rural state.
Cuvion says that Louisiana elections have to be seen as 3 election days each cycle, with mail-in ballots, early voting, and Election Day. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
Governor-elect Jeff Landry's administration continues to take shape. This week, he appointed Dan Casey as Commissioner of Office of Motor Vehicles and Austin Baden as an assistant to the Commissioner of the Office of Motor Vehicles. Landry hopes these appointments will make the often dreaded DMV visit a better experience with more responsiveness and efficiency. Attorney General-elect Liz Morrell is also forming her team. Morrell has appointed Larry Freeman to be her Chief Deputy Attorney General. Freeman spent the last 4 years as a state representative from the St. Tammany area, and before that he practiced law in state and federal courts. He will be presented to the state Senate for confirmation when Morrell assumes office. The New Orleans Police Department's new chief has revealed her plan to the City Council to hire and keep more cops. Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick plans to use billboards, commercials, and recruitment booths at home Saints games. She also outlined upgrades at facilities and new police cruisers and technology like drones and mobile fingerprint scanners. She says all of that could help her reach her hiring goal.
At minimum, a net gain of 200, so that will put you at 1,100 sworn. So that would be at minimum what I would like to go for. I know there's always a danger in giving a number. So if you fall short, there's always criticism.
Kirkpatrick adds short staffing means police are often too busy. Still, she wants to see all officers handling more basic operations like traffic enforcement. According to the mayor of New Orleans, the crime rate has seen a significant dip in the city, stating that the work of the NOPD has been top-notch. Some residents say that it doesn't seem that far-fetched.
A 21% decrease in violent crime and a 24% drop in the homicide rate were two of the big statistics Mayor LaToya Cantrell focused on during her State of the City address.
This isn't just because. It's not about a stroke of luck. It's because our officers are showing up, they're on the ground, and they're working in partnership with all law enforcement agencies.
But have residents noticed the improvement? I spoke with several people who say that the positive statistics are believable.
I haven't seen as much crime as I'd seen before. I'm not sure what the overall numbers look like, of course, but I have noticed a considerable drop in break-ins being reported around my complex than I had in the last couple of years.
The promising statistics ring true with new residents as well, like Thomas Brittle, who moved into New Orleans last year and says his transition has been trouble-free.
Obviously, no prior experience with only being here for, like I said, a little over a year and a half, but I hasn't been much of a difference personally for myself than it was whenever I was living down in the Charleston area in South Carolina.
And with new Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick roughly 2 months into her term, Cantrell believes this positive trend will only continue.
She's been on the job 60 days. She's hit the ground running. And you know what? I'm more confident than I've ever been.
Well, this week, the Shreveport City Council approved its official budget, which includes major investments in production, fighting crime, and recruiting police officers.
50 Cent and members from his production company G Unit visited Shreveport earlier this year. They toured Millennium Studios, a Shreveport-owned movie studio, and a representative from 50 Cent's team, Orville Hall, says they wish to bring the movie industry back to Shreveport. City Council voted unanimously in favor of the lease agreement, and the lease will be for 30 years with an option to renew for an additional 15 years.
It's about time that something good like this happens. You know, I think it's going to really be beneficial for our youth, give them an outlet, let them know that, hey, you don't have to go outside of Shreveport. You can still stay here and do big things. And just thank 50 for bringing everything and making it happen here in Shreveport. So, yeah.
Shreveport City Council also passed Resolution 156, asking Mayor Tom Arsenault to declare a public emergency on gun violence and violence against women and children in Shreveport. Lastly, City Council's voting on the budget for public safety. The mayor's administration proposed a recruitment stipend for police and fire recruits. Councilmember Tabitha Taylor made an amendment to bring $2.5 million that was unspent into 2024.
I want police and fire to be armed with everything that they need for the best recruitment of individuals for our city. Public safety is always a priority for me. It should always be a priority for government, and so we need to make sure that we incentivize that as much as possible.
The council says this was the fastest they have passed a budget. Miriam Samake for NBC6 News.
There you have it, covering news all over the state. Coming up, Shannon Heck's one-on-one interview with outgoing Governor John Bel Edwards as he talks about the many challenges he faced in both of his terms. Stay with us.